Hello, I'm Jamie Crooked, guest editor with Valiant Scribe, and I've had the honor today to meet with poet and artist VaL Smit. VaL Smit is a South African poet based in Cape Town. She writes poetry and also does the artwork to accompany those poems. She's going to tell us a little bit about her work and her inspiration, and particularly one poem, Spillage, which will be featured on Valiant Scribe. Smit's work has been featured in many international magazines such as Valiant Scribe, Glow Mag India, and Literary Garland. And she joins us today, and she's going to talk about the connection between visual art and poetry. So welcome, Val, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Jamie.
And if you could share your poem, Spillage, with us.
Spillage. Human love rise like a freshly opened fountain, overflowing the sweet inundation, the fields we have so carefully prepared, so assiduously sown, the fertile fields are deluged with nectarous flood, the young germs swamped, delicious poison cankering them into delirium and delusion. The light that illumines the deepest chambers of the soul, the sense of humility that almost overwhelms surprise, the desire for worthiness and goodness upon which new generations are founded, is replaced with the self-bolstering display of verbal spillage.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Would you like to talk a little bit about what that poem, what inspired that poem and what that means to you?
I had a very interesting philosophical conversation with someone about cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is conflicting beliefs in a single society. Basically, the poem is based on the difference between or the conflicting beliefs between historical societal values and contextual values that are expected from us in behaviors in a diverse society. So in the society the way we live in South Africa, which is very diverse, I feel that I believe very strongly that there is no place for exclusivity, because exclusive behavior basically cannot be tolerated in a diverse society. If you cannot act inclusive, it means that you cannot embrace humanity. So what I experience at the moment or perceive in the younger generation is a huge sense of entitlement, and I feel that the entitlement is instilled by parents, historical societal values, and that system creates an adult generation that will not be able to think critically and empower themselves to recognize their self-worth independently of societal approval. And there was an instance actually now at one of the schools in South Africa that illustrates that point exactly, where I feel that the historical societal values instilled and still enforced on younger generations it places them in a position where they actually cannot make critical decisions for themselves. Because once you do not have the ability to make the critical decisions, you are placed in a position to be manipulated by values that is not contextual. So in this particular instance, now recently in a high school, I see a school as a safe place. So given, and it took place during Pride Month, where several kids were victimized because they were different. Also, the kids that supported them were victimized because they were different. So I believe that, and that behavior by the instigators of the victimization, that behavior is based on historical societal values. That is how they are brought up, to act exclusively and to not include people who are different. Humanity is diverse. Humanity is diverse. So if you do not recognize that fact and allow yourself to think and accept the fact that what you were taught is not necessarily right, you will place yourself in a position as an adult in 10 years or in 15 years' time to raise a new generation who will think the same. So in that way, humanity will never move forward to a place where we are accepting of different, because different is great. Different is good. Different is fantastic. We need to embrace different. The fact that we do not allow ourselves or our children to think for themselves and to think critically, analyze, happenings in society, political happenings, economic happenings, then, what are we creating here? Because we have the power to create that process of critical thinking. And that's why I wrote it.
I think that's great. It asks some really powerful questions, and I think that really comes through in your work. Your work is also going to be featured on Valiant Scribe. We'll have additional poems as well as some additional information from you about what inspires your work. And we look forward to seeing your artwork as well. And I really thank you for coming out today. We appreciate having the opportunity to talk with you.
Thank you so much for having me, Jamie. I much appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.